I'm putting together a team. People with special abilities. You see, I believe enemies are coming.
Stop right there. I'm in.
He's the comic relief. Honestly, watching Justice League was like sitting through the director's cut of Heaven's Gate and then some. It was one of those films in which, I mean, the storytelling is storytelling is a phrase I use loosely. This is the kind of film which, by comparison, Joel Schumacher's Batman and Robin is a masterclass in coherence, in character development, in razor-sharp storytelling. This is a film which storytelling is all over the place, in which there are too many characters given too little to do and no reason for us to engage with them whatsoever. It starts with a fight scene and it pretty much continues with a fight scene in that vein all the way through, stopping occasionally to explain the plot, do a bit of globe-tropping and to do those flippant asides, many of which look like they have been largely inserted afterwards. The characters all have different character-defining abilities. Well, yeah, except essentially they're all indestructible and they can all fly. You know that line in Toy Story? That's not flying, that's falling with style. There's a massive amount of falling with style that is, to all intents and purposes, flying.
This isn't flying, this is falling with style.
More importantly, it suffers from the Michael Bolton problem of where do we go from here? So at the beginning, there's all this stuff about, this threat that they're facing. It's the threatiest threat in the history of threatiness. And this threat above all other threats is particularly threatening. And it's going to require some incredibly ominous, threatening music at all times. And people looking really threatened by this inconceivably threaty threat that's going to happen. It's going to be bigger. And you just go, yes, it's just Doctor Who, isn't it? It's like this thing when every single episode, I know everything's happened before, but this is worse and this is going to require... And then what happens? Well, have a punch up and reverse the polarities. That'll probably all be fine in the end.
Reverse the polarity.
The battle sequences look like outtakes from Lord of the Rings. And I don't mean Lord of the Rings, the films. I mean Lord of the Rings, the computer games, the early computer game spin-offs, which attempted to bring some of that majesty that Peter Jackson had onto the small screen. Characters spend an awful lot of time standing on things that make you wonder, how did they get there? So there's a shot of Batman standing on top of a massive scaffold and he's watching something. I'm just thinking, how did he get up there? Wonder Woman is... Yeah, he flew indestructibly. Wonder Woman is standing on the arms of, Justice holding the sword and the scales. She's up there and all I can think of is, how'd you get up there? Seriously, how did you get up there? That's how uninvolved I was. All the actors look bored and awkward. Everybody looks like they want to be somewhere else. Then we get the end credit sequences. As I was watching the film, I thought, well, at least one really annoying character hasn't come back, so that's good news. And then at the end of the end of the end of the end, they came back. So it was like literally just before the film finally said, Auf Wiedersehen, I've wasted enough of your time. I shan't be troubling you any longer. The one person that I was glad wasn't in the film was in the film.
Was it Jar Jar Binks?
It was Jar Jar Binks. It is really shoddy and really ill-conceived, spectacularly messy, thunderously boring, and an absolute demonstration of that idea that more is less, Just... give me a character that I can care about. You remember when we talked about Man of Steel? The whole thing is that all the interesting stuff in Man of Steel is front-loaded when it's about Superman's vulnerabilities, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The minute that a superhero film stops being about those things, it ceases to be interesting. And as I said, it's a world of indestructo, flyy people hitting each other whilst looking doomy, while the threatiest threat of threatiness, it is just absolute rubbish.